Hello and welcome to how I play my level 50 Paladin. And let's jump right into it here. So I'm going to go over to the spells. This is a character on live. I'll mention things that are related to TLP as we go through this and whatnot. And I use a multi-bind to play my character. And I also box. So that may or may not interest you. That might give you some information on what I do and all that stuff. One thing I do on all my characters is I set up extended target on the same for all my characters, no matter what, one character or 6. And it's pretty much the first person on the list is the character I'm playing. So X target 1 all the way through X target 6 are just people in the group. This character is a duo with a wizard, so he's just got the 2 on there, plus my druid that I keep out of group for heals. And then X target 20 is the tank, so if I'm the tank or if I have a mercenary as the tank, I can set it there, and spells that are based on tank stuff kind of go on to those characters, right? And then X target 19 is the assist, so when I select something, you see how it's instant? That's just how that works, right? And that goes like, say, here's my wizard. He is combat dummy Beza, right? Instantaneously, no button press is required to get the assist target. All right, so let's talk about spells. I have 4 stuns loaded here. Now, let's see here. Ceased and desist. Stun and Holy Might. Now you can kind of see the level progression here. I'll cease this first, but regardless, these 2 come from Luckland. So the 3rd expansion, yeah, whatever, Shadows of Luckland is when you get access to these. In Classic, you only have access to Stun and Holy Might, and you'd only get access to Stun at level 28. So playing a Paladin on a TLP server is challenging in the first bit of levels. So, but eventually you have 4 stuns you can use at level 50, and I just use them all in my multi-bind in order: cease, desist, stun, and then Holy Might, as so on and so on. And it's really, let me turn it back off. Alright, so if I stand behind him, because this thing is like level 100 or level 90, it's going to kill me if I riposte. But if I do it here, so I just cease and desist, and then it should do a stun, and then it should do a Holy Might, and then cease should be back up, like so. So it's pretty much the order of my rotation. But we have some extra spells that are kind of useful. So Wave of Life is a level 39 spell. This is not classic. It's probably a little bit later on when they started adding healing spells to the Paladin. This is a group heal for 219. Now, it's not a whole lot of damage being healed, but it is nice. It can generate a little bit of threat depending on what's going on, but usually it does not. I have 9,000 hit points at level 50, so it's, you know, it's a little bit useful or useless there, depending on the thing. Next up, I have Ethereal Cleansing, which is a target heal over time. Now, this only does 100 every 6 seconds, but it's still not too bad, right? If I cast it, can I not? Yeah, there we go. Lag or something. It's a pretty quick cast, puts it on me, right? You know, or if if I'm tanking, it'll cast it on me without me having to change my target. Pretty nice just to like have that extra healing. I'm currently using an out-of-group healer. I don't know where she's at. Because I'm just trying to level up these characters to catch up with the Hobbs and Friends series. But, you know, it is what it is there. Then we have Divine Might, which is a proc buff, if that explains it right. So when I attack with my melee weapon, right, it'll proc Divine Might. So you can see there, Divine Might, 65 points of damage. So, you know, just a quick little proc. These are all getting resisted, by the way. So on normal mobs, that's what it would do. So it's nice to have up at all times when doing it. Now there is an alternative to this combat initiative instrument of knife. This one, let's see here. This one does undead, same thing, undead. I don't have a target combat dummy that's low enough to actually proc it on. I believe it's close to like the 25 to 50 range on damage, only on undead, whereas Divine Might is anything. And I believe it has like a stun component to it, but I'm not 100% sure. And then at the end here, I have Brill's Steadfast Aegis, which is just a HP type 2 that stacks with most HP buffs. I have Beast Lord and something else, some Ranger buff do not stack with it. So it's nice to have while leveling. I use on my 125 Paladin, I cast it all the time because I like to have the extra HP and whatnot from that. So it's pretty nice to have. Now, some alternative things here, if I can actually click on this. Flame of Light. Now, this is a direct damage spell. I have 0 meditation, so it takes, like, I've literally leveled 1 to 50 in, like, less than 2 hours, so it's not a whole lot of, no skill gains going on there. But strikes your target with burning flame of light, causing 125 damage. Now, this would be nice maybe to replace one of the stuns with, but I just don't feel like it's worth even doing it. It has a longer recast time, so it would make nice in a multi-bind because it would, you know, go every few cycles, right? But I don't know. I'm just not sold on it. Maybe you could put it in there and still have all the stuns if you wanted to. We do have a haste spell, Valor of Mar, but it's not really that important till, you know, well, I guess, I mean, if you want to cast it, you can cast it. You know, it's free haste if you don't have a hasting character. For solo, you know, this is good to have. Obviously, I can't cast any kind of spells right now. There we go, got it, finally. And what, 166% haste with a 40% worn item, so it's not terrible, but you know, it's better than nothing. It really adds to the soulability of the class, right? Let's see here, is there anything else? We do have a whole line of undead nukes. Now, these are really nice on TLP servers when you're fighting in Guk and Classic. Since you don't have, you know, the same amount of stuns, right? Loading up Dismiss Undead is fantastic. Now, let me see if I can have one. I usually have one. There's one right here. Ghoulbane. If you're on a TLP, right, you're gonna want to get Ghoulbane as soon as possible. It drops from Upper Guk. It procs Dismiss Undead. This is gonna be your go-to weapon on TLPs until you get the epic. I would say it's not much better than this, at least versus Undead. So you're gonna go with that most likely. Let's see here. Yeah, but that's on TLP. On I'm currently using a ancient fire etched flamberge, which is an okay weapon. It feels kind of slow what I'm doing, but it's okay. But that's like my everyday spells that I use, right? I don't use much beyond this. It's mostly stuns to hold aggro. I started actually using a tank mercenary because it was kind of a little even more tankier than me. I'm like I have like the mount buff, I have everything. I have full raid gear from like Velius at level 1, and the mercenary is still way better tanking than I was. So it was kind of helpful that I could just pull to the mercenary and let the mercenary do the work. But hotbar wise, my first one is just a hide corpse NPC, and then when I eventually get it, it'll do foraging. I forage on all my characters, and then I have a multi-bind, which is pretty basic here. Just turns on my attack, does a pet attack and pet swarm. Not as helpful. This is just copied from I believe my Shadow Knight UI when I did this, but it's not as helpful right now since I don't have a pet that I can summon. But later on, Some weapons will summon pets, and there'll be some swarm pets that I can call upon via AAs and stuff like that. Those are kind of useful to have and just have it there at all times. It doesn't affect anything to do it. Let's see here. Self buff. I don't think there's anything there. Yeah, it's not there yet. Just a standard sit button. Just sitting. I got a mount button to mount up. And then some teleportation items here. These are just like teleport back here to my guild hall. Go to the anniversary tower in North Row. Go to the fellowship wherever my campfire is put down at. Throne of Heroes teleports me back to guild lobby, and then Stein back to Plane of Knowledge. Pretty basic stuff. I started using personas more, so it's kind of nice to like, have a character and then just have access to all my teleportation items without having to like move them around and all that stuff and all the mounts. It's much more convenient for sure. And then my multi-bind. So if you don't know what a multi-bind is, it's when you bind one key to the same button across all your buttons, right? All of them are bound to 4 and all of them are bound to 5. If I push 4, like here I go here, if I push 4, I do cease. If I push 5, desist, right? It's just hitting any of these buttons that are available that's in these last 2 rows down here, right? So it's just how it works. And the reason I do 4 and 5 is because on some of my multi-box characters, I don't do things on 4, whereas on some of them, I do things on only 5, right? So it kind of lets me have it so that my healer, which is a shaman in the Hobbs and Friends series, he can heal me on 5, but on 4, I can do other things like slow and dot without it interfering with his buttons, right? So it works out pretty well in that sense. But it's just a standard. I do taunt on cooldown on whatever mob I'm fighting, and then the 4 stuns. So pretty basic. The only activated ability we have right now besides Origin is Lay on Hands, and that just is a huge 40k heal on the target of target. If I have this targeted, it'll heal whoever's tanking, and if they're low, it works really well. If not, it's wasted. It's like a 1 hour and 12 minute reuse right now. So it's pretty crazy when it comes to that. There are no disciplines yet. There is one at 51, I think. So as we get from 50 to 55, there'll be a few there, but I believe, if I recall, they're all worthless. It's not until the 55 plus ones that they start getting a little bit better. And then I don't have it set up right now, but this is a bandolier for switching 1-hand and 2-hand. I use this on my Shadow Knight, who I copied the UI from, as I said, and I just left them there because I'm going to do the same buttons. I just don't have a 1-hander yet. I've been going 2-hander more and more on the characters I make. It's more damage, and it is seems to be a lot better lower level. I feel like this one's a little slow. I had a 44 delay, so I need to find a better 2-hander for level 1. That's the only one I had. These other 2 have level requirements of 51 and 55 respectively, so we'll see eventually. And then I have a clicky here for my familiar. The familiar, the succulent, gives me a 63-point damage shield, and you can see probably right. See here. I have had a 25 point at some point. I don't know. I don't think it fully does the full damage. At least I've noticed it doesn't do the full damage. But it does more damage, and I like more damage shield damage because that's helping me level faster the way I'm leveling right now on this character, this persona, to get him caught up. Let's see here. And then over here, I just have some clickies for my different illusions that I use. Like this is the Guise of the Deceiver, turns you into a Dark Elf. And then I like this one the best, turning into a skeleton and just running around. I love this illusion. It's my favorite in the game. Then I have an invite button. So I just invite all my group members for my boxes, and I click the one button. And then on my boxes, when I click my follow button in IS Boxer, they all invite him back because they targeted him, and then that forms the group. So it saves me a lot of time. It's pretty handy there, but that is pretty much the level 50 Paladin. Now, on TLPs, you're going to feel really weak, and it's kind of sad, in all honesty, because it's a fun class. It's just very weak in TLPs. Now, one spell I did not mention is Flash of Light. Now, if you're on a TLP, you're probably going to be using Flash of Light to get aggro. I don't like it. It's a blind. I did this for what? Like Kunark, classic Kunark, and then Velius, right? On one of my TLP Paladins, and it wasn't fun. At 28, you do get the stun, which you can use, but it's not enough sometimes to keep aggro. But Flashlight, if you do it from range, right? So if I Flashlight that guy, he's gonna beeline who knows where and pull who knows what. So it's kind of frustrating at times. But the Paladin is a versatile tank in every regard of the game. Like with the toolkit you have at level 50, right? With Pacify, you can solo pull hate mobs, right? Like you can pacify every mob in hate pretty much, and solo pull them, and you can tank them with a healer. It is very doable. Now, killing them fast enough is another story, but Paladin is not known for high DPS. I'll tell you that. Let's see here, but for the most part, it's a very fun class, and it's one of my favorites. And now I already have the videos made for I think 90 through 125. So if you want to jump ahead, you can see those. But I'm making videos for the 50 to I think 90 or 85, whatever it is, that I forgot to make when I leveled up my my other Paladin. So we'll get those done, and that is that. I don't like it right now. All right, so there we go. That is the level 50 Paladin. We will see what the level 55 Paladin is like in a short time. But thank you very much for watching, and please have a fantastic day.